Walker's older sister spoke to officers here at the Livingston County Sheriff's Office on Tuesday to report her mother missing. But this Amber Alert for little Savannah Walker wasn't issued until early this morning. And a couple of hours after that, the Detroit Fire Department responded to a disturbing call. An abandoned Detroit home up in flames. The bodies of a woman and child found dead inside. Police say they believe the fire was set intentionally.
It appears that the victims were taken to this location. We are not certain at this time if they were murdered prior to.
Police don't know for certain who the two victims are either, but they do know the Amber Alert suspect Marcus Tyrone Hightower was recently in Detroit. His vehicle was recovered on Detroit's east side. Police believe him to be armed and dangerous. They say he has a history of domestic violence.
He was doing time prior to being released on parole for assault with intent to commit murder.
Which is why the Detroit police chief says Livingston's sheriff's office dropped the ball.
I don't want to be overly critical because it's still early in the investigation. Certainly there was indications early on that something more should have been done. It was not done.
And who's to blame?
We're saying preliminarily there may have been information given to Livingston County that was not done.
It's irresponsible for anybody to point fingers at this point.
Livingston County Sheriff says Chief Craig doesn't know the whole story.
For a chief of a major police department to come out and try to lay blame or politicize this situation it borderlines on incompetence.
When his deputy took information from Heidi Walker's 22-year-old daughter Amanda on Tuesday, it was all third hand.
Some guy named Paul had called her and had actually talked to the daughter, the 4-year-old daughter, and said that mom was dead on a couch.
He says there was no indication that a 4-year-old girl was in danger, and after multiple interviews, they had no confirmation that the 38-year-old mother was in harm's way either. And though her phone was traced to Detroit, where Hightower was also believed to be, they did not contact Detroit police. Livingston deputies say they told Amanda who to follow up with if she had more information, but they themselves did not follow up.
They're going to want to look into why there was a delay. And so we want to know, and I'm certainly that the family wants to know.
The family also wants to know for certain who was found dead inside this Detroit home. I spoke with Amanda over the phone, and she tells me she believes that the bodies found in the basement of this abandoned home are those of her mother and her sister. And she says she's heartbroken at the thought that her own children might never have the opportunity to know them. Reporting in Detroit, Jennifer Ann Wilson, 7 Action News.
You will not hide. You cannot hide. We will find you.
And that's the message Detroit Police Chief James Craig has for Marcus Hightower. Hightower, that person of interest in connection to the disappearance of 4-year-old Savannah Walker and her mother Heidi. Chief Craig says the Detroit Police Department, Michigan State Police were brought into the investigation, but another daughter of Walker's reported their disappearance early in the week.
We just were brought into this after the fact. And in fact, as you know, this investigation started early of this week, probably Tuesday. Family went into the local police department to report a missing. Certainly they had some concerns. There was a history of domestic violence with Mr. Hightower and the missing, and so there was some concern on their part. That's when the investigation, for the most part, stopped.
While the Livingston County Sheriff's Department says there is much more to this story, officials are still searching desperately for little Savannah. Call police right away if you see her or her mother's boyfriend, Marcus Hightower. And remember, stay with Action News and WXYZ.com for the very latest in this still developing story.